The knock came at exactly 2 in the morning, sharp and hesitant, the kind of sound that slices through sleep and lands straight in the chest. In that dim hotel room, with city lights bleeding through thin curtains and exhaustion clinging to every breath, a single father lay awake already, his mind heavy with unpaid bills, unanswered emails, and the quiet ache of missing his child. When he opened the door and saw his boss standing there, pale, shaken, and whispering with eyes full of urgency that they needed to talk, something shifted forever in that narrow hallway, because some moments arrive not to destroy us, but to reveal who we truly are when the world thinks we have nothing left. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of quiet hope, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement. Subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Ethan Miller never planned to be a single dad. Life had made that decision for him on a rainy afternoon 3 years earlier when his wife's car never made it home. Since then, his world had shrunk into school lunches packed at dawn, laundry folded late at night, and whispered prayers over his sleeping daughter's bed. Emily was 7 now, with her mother's eyes and a laugh that could briefly make grief forget its place. Ethan worked as a regional operations manager for a hotel chain, a job that demanded constant travel, long hours, and an unspoken expectation that personal problems stayed invisible. Every trip meant another night away from Emily, another promise made over video calls that he would be home soon. Guilt became his constant companion, sitting beside him on flights and settling into empty hotel rooms like an unwelcome guest. This particular trip had already gone wrong. A delayed flight, a tense board meeting, and an email from Emily's school about a missed payment for a field trip had left Ethan feeling hollow. He lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, calculating numbers that never seemed to add up, wondering how long he could keep pretending everything was fine. His boss, Margaret Collins, was known across the company as unshakable. She was the kind of leader who walked into rooms and altered their temperature, respected but feared, admired but distant. She never missed a detail and never showed weakness. To Ethan, she was a symbol of everything he struggled to be: composed, secure, untouched by chaos. Seeing her at his door at that hour felt unreal. Her usually perfect posture seemed bent by something invisible, her eyes reflecting fear rather than authority. Ethan stepped aside, letting her in, unaware that the roles they had lived by for years were about to dissolve. The room felt too small for the weight she carried, and the silence between them spoke louder than any explanation. She sat on the edge of the chair, hands trembling slightly, as if holding herself together required effort she no longer had. Margaret had spent her life climbing, sacrificing friendships, family, and love for success. That night, she had received news that shattered the armor she wore so well. A medical emergency involving her estranged son had left her frozen, unable to breathe under the pressure of regret. She had no one else nearby, no one she trusted enough to see her fall apart. Somehow, instinct led her to Ethan, the man she had unknowingly watched juggle work and fatherhood with quiet resilience. She needed to talk not as a boss, but as a human being on the brink. Ethan listened, not as an employee fearing consequences, but as a father who understood loss, distance, and the pain of missed chances. He offered water, then simply offered presence. The city hummed outside while 2 lives unfolded inside that room, stripped of titles and expectations. In those early hours of morning, Margaret confessed fears she had buried for decades, and Ethan found himself sharing pieces of his own story: the nights he cried silently so his daughter wouldn't hear, the constant fear of failing her. Something softened between them, something real and fragile, built on honesty rather than hierarchy. In the days that followed, change came quietly. Margaret returned to work altered, her sharpness tempered with empathy. She noticed things she once ignored: the tired eyes of employees, the parents leaving early for school events, the silent struggles hidden behind polite professionalism. Ethan, too, felt different. For the first time in years, he didn't feel invisible. A week later, Margaret called him into her office, not to reprimand, but to offer flexibility, understanding, and eventually a promotion that allowed him to work closer to home. She didn't frame it as charity, but as recognizing value that had always been there. Ethan's life didn't transform overnight. Bills still came, mornings were still rushed, and grief still visited unannounced. But there was light now, filtering through the cracks. He attended Emily's school events without checking his phone every 5 minutes. He cooked dinners without the constant knot of anxiety tightening his chest. Margaret repaired her relationship with her son slowly, painfully, but sincerely, learning that success meant nothing without connection. Just before the ending, take a moment and comment the word hope if you believe that even the hardest nights can lead to unexpected beginnings. Near the end of this story, as Ethan tucked Emily into bed one quiet evening, he realized that the knock at the hotel door hadn't been an interruption, but an invitation. An invitation to be seen, to matter, to understand that strength isn't about standing alone, but about letting others in when everything feels like it's falling apart. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness can change lives in ways we never expect, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps keep stories like this reaching those who need them most.